What do you have to do to get any service? Like, where is she?
Alex, it's our shift. We're the bartenders right now. All the drinks are right here.
Oh, oh, look at that.
Yeah, how do you like being behind the bar here at 10 Forward?
Well, I don't like working at all, so
Yeah, well, I relate to you there. But regardless of how we feel about it, just like with any other change we make here on the channel, some people will talk about how they really like it. A lot of people will complain. And most people will just watch and enjoy the video.
yeah, absolutely. But in terms of having something to complain about, I don't think this episode will have any complaints from either of us.
A hostile alien race threatens to annihilate an entire planet.
The lives of 15,000 people are riding on you.
We are not leaving.
Data's mission, force an evacuation.
You will die, and their weapons are far more powerful.
But his own life is in jeopardy. On Star Trek, The Next Generation.
That was a pretty generic milk toast one. They represented it well, I guess. Well, it didn't take long, Alex. I love this episode.
Yeah, me too. This was one of those classic, amazing Star Trek episodes where we have an impossible problem here. How do we fix this? And it was a Brent Spiner episode for the most part. Can't complain about that. I just love it when they give him the ball and let him run down the field, and all of his stuff down on the planet by himself, he completely carried it. And the other guy was 80 yard the entire time.
There's going to be no evacuation.
It's interesting because this episode had so much material. Like, it felt like it could have been a two-parter. You know, it really gave me vibes of 1978 Battlestar Galactica, just with one of the characters going down to a planet, all new sets, all new characters they're meeting and interacting with, except, you know, because this show is, over a decade later, you know, they don't just do that. Like, it's not literally just Data goes down to a planet and that's it, like they would with Apollo or Starbuck or something in that show. We had that whole other story with Picard and the Shellyak and that whole negotiation over the planet and the colonization. And I thought both parts were done so well. It was so surprising. But I just want to know, you know, was it just the fact that the whole show's budget was lifted and we're going to keep continuing to see that, or was it just this one episode? Because, like, there's a lot in here. I mean, sets, the matte paintings, all of the extra actors, all of the costume design for the Shellyak. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it almost felt like it could have been a two-part TV movie episode.
It really could have. I didn't want this episode to end. I think one of the most impressive things was a high-angle wide shot of the set on the ground, and then it completely meshes in perfectly with the matte painting in the background showing everything. And you see people walking, but you also see the matte painting. It's like, it was perfectly blended. I'm like, oh, that looks so good.
You have this planet that Data gets sent down to because they believe that it's not sufficient for humans to exist in. But then when he goes down there, there's a colony of over 15,000 from a ship from Earth that got off course and found this planet, and they were able to make it livable for themselves. And now there's been several generations that have lived here, and now these Shelleyaks technically own this planet because of the treaty with the Federation, so they're going to come just kill all these humans.
We will begin settlement of this world in 4 days. Remove the humans.
The Sheliak contacts Starfleet like, hey, we're coming to colonize this planet, but hey, it says there's human life down there. What's going on? And they're like, oh, there's no human life. The planet's uninhabitable. But somehow the ship that launched like 90 plus years ago crash landed there. They're supposed to go somewhere else. Through extreme hardships, they were able to survive, adapt, and can live there. And it's the whole, I love this whole dilemma. I love this whole, like, where I can sit down with myself and think about this from, like, a political issue, a human rights issue. It's like, shit, who's right? It's like, yes, they technically own this planet, but there's 15,000 living beings on this planet, and we don't have enough time to evacuate them. It's like, oh, shit. Like, it's not a prime directive thing. It's like, it's just a treaty type thing. And I like how Star Trek can bring real life issues like that and dress it up like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, colonization and wars over land, like, that is an absolutely real thing that has happened for hundreds, if not thousands of years on Earth, and it continues to happen even up to today. It's a very complex issue. And Star Trek is able to take these things, whether they're current or from the past, or possibly could only be in the future, like with alien races fighting over planets, and it makes it relatable and understandable. And you get the motivations of, what was his name? Genoshaven?
Gooshaven, Gooshamon.
You,
Uncredited. Oh, is Gooshaven uncredited because it wasn't his fucking voice?
that can't be it, dude.
Why is he uncredited then?
I don't know.
Because his voice was entirely ADR. I didn't pick up on it at first, but after watching every scene he's in, I'm like,
It's the result of 90 years of combined effort. This isn't a town.
But you understand the motivations of Goshevin, who's the leader of this colony, and you understand also the motivations of those who do want to leave and listen to Data. With the introduction of Adrienne Mackenzie, played by Eileen Seeley, I thought at first, oh, it's a Data falls in love with a human episode, but it's not, and I'm glad it wasn't, because that would have been rushed. But also, she's more so infatuated with Data, and it's more about an episode of Data learning about humanity, and those are such good episodes. It starts that way when they're trying to tell him about, you don't always have to be 100% honest. That's not always the best thing. And then later, when he's learning about reverse psychology and those types of things. So everything with Adrienne and Data was excellent, to the point where I almost wish she had stayed on for the show. But there's too many characters, I know.
yeah, you can't do that, yeah.
I'm Adrienne Mackenzie. Perhaps I can help you.
That was so great. And then Goshevin, even though all of his lines were ADR, it was a good motivation, a good example of a character where you don't agree with them, but you can understand.
Yes, or I love where I can look from both sides. I'm like, oh, that's a good point. Oh, that's a good point. Because I'm thinking from the perspective of Goshevin, you've been here your entire life. Your family, your ancestors have been here for 90 plus years. You've established and you've overcome so much. All of a sudden, this weird white, gray-faced alien android comes down. Oh, you're all about to die. We have to get you out of here. It's like, I've lived here my entire, like, what are you talking about? It's like, we have no knowledge of this. What do you mean? It's like, of course I'd be skeptical of this whole thing. Like, yeah, what are you talking about? Like, no, you know how much we worked for this? You know,
My grandfather.
He's buried on that mountain. Well, who'll be left to bury you?
And then let's talk about the other side of this with Picard. That was also great. A great episode for Picard and for Troy. They both had great moments.
yeah, possibly my favorite Troy scene ever, where they're talking about the differences of communicating with all these alien species and how to get across.
Sasmarith. What did I just say?
Glass.
Are you sure? I may have meant liquid, clear.
And I think she was talking about like how difficult it is to like make these like amends between.
And it's a miracle that any aliens even can do that at all.
Yeah.
Which you just kind of take for granted watching a sci-fi show, because you're just like, well, they have to do it for the show to work. But no, it's nice to actually break it down and explain, no, this is pretty crazy that this happens. And it's awesome. I love just like using physical things. It's like the pen and paper for like anytime they explain a black hole. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. It's 2 points in space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Glover in The Martian with the stapler, just like anything where they're using like props like that, it's always great to be like, oh, I understand.
Yeah, just to really help break it down. Like, oh, the Sheliak. Pretty simple alien design. I was okay with it. I think it's just some guy with probably some handles on some sort of practical suit where he can like move it around like this. My first thought went to, we keep bringing the show up, I guess we miss it, as the original villain of Battlestar Galactica, with like the big hat.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of looked like that at first glance, where like he's up in that chair, you don't really see him. I'm like, oh, that kind of reminds me of that. But like, he would sometimes, like, I don't know if it was like breathing or flexing, but it would like go off to the side. It's like, oh, that looks neat. It like just showed just enough to make you think or make you believe like, okay, this is a very weird species. But I think if they put any more light on him, or got any more closer to him, it's like the whole thing is gonna fall apart. So
yeah, to me, it just looked like he was just wearing a big blanket. It was a big comforter. Yeah, it was fine. It's better than it just being a human, so it was fine. But I also, one of the best Picard scenes, if not the best one to date, the ending of that story where he finds in the 500,000 word treaty the clause about having an arbitrator, and that's saving the day for him. And Patrick Stewart's acting, we've praised it a little bit, but we really got to praise it here. It was awesome.
It was my probably tied, if not above, his Measure of a Man performance. Because just seeing Picard kind of like, he's been hung up on twice, and we're told that this species thinks less of humans. So him being able to be like, oh, hey guys.
I hereby formally request third-party arbitration of our dispute.
And they're like, oh, yeah. And like, Picard he does this.
Then I hereby declare this treaty in abeyance.
Wait. Negotiation is permissible.
Gracefully just walking across the set and Worf's like, they're hailing us. He's like, oh yeah, look at this plaque. Any dust on there? It's like, oh, it's so like, got him back.
It's like you could just feel it was Picard. You know, everything about his character, of course he would revel in this moment because he gets hung up on so much. He has to deal with the diplomacy of Starfleet and the Federation, deal with these alien species and get hung up on, you know, for him to finally get the upper hand, you know, in the last laugh with this alien species. Like, yes, he would enjoy this, you know, and also getting to see Worf, Riker, and Troy witness it and be like, sir, you know, like they know what's going on, you know.
Sir?
And then they call back. It's like, all right, fine, we'll do it. And he's like,
You may have your 3 weeks, Picard of the Enterprise.
Thank you.
Data shooting a phaser on stun setting. And then there's this weird shot where he shoots something and like causes like a ripple like effect like down this whole line. It's like, oh, how did they do that? That was neat.
That was neat, and I love that he uses his own body to upgrade the phaser because he says the phaser won't work because of the radioactivity.
Yeah.
So he uses his own body to make it work, and that was a really cool idea. That was good.
That was the stun setting. This is not.
Whoa!
Yeah.
And he just shoots the back wall, but like I didn't think he was gonna do it, but I thought maybe like he was like convinced. Like he's like, oh, you got to do reverse psychology. You got to like, and I thought Data was gonna take it to like an up teen.
Too far with it.
Yeah, like too far.
Yeah, just disintegrate someone. Yeah, but his speech there was great.
They can obliterate you from orbit. You will die, never having seen the faces of your killers.
Oh God.
He was great. Anything else?
I guess we're.
Oh, we got to mention this was directed by Cliff Bole and written by Melinda Snodgrass. Is that the combo we need?
That's
Cliff
a good
Bole director and Melinda Snodgrass writing.
That's a good combo. That's a very good combo. They got it down pat.
I guess as much as I loved this episode, it's hard to really say much beyond that because I mean we've just been praising it basically. But since it's funny, it's like when there's nothing to complain about, you have less to say because it's just all good. It was just all good.
Alex and Josh, for the target audience on a cosmic journey, feeling so immense. They're sitting in a room.
All right, for all the episodes we discuss, our patrons over on Patreon get to let us know what they think, predict how we're going to feel about the episode. We read them for the first time right now, so if you want to take part in this, go check it out on the Patreon. The first filmed episode of Season 3, even if second aired. Why didn't they just air it first? They made it first. This would have been an amazing first episode.
Was that fucking Beverly Crusher?
Yeah. How often do you think the Enterprise bridge needs dusting? Random question at the end.
That's a good question. I've never seen any cleaners. I've never seen any janitors. The B story is my preferred portion of this episode, although I found the A story to be pretty solid Star Trek, but just okay.
Which is which? I don't know. I'd say this is about as average as it gets for Season 3. A good watch, but nothing that pops up in many top 10 lists. This is shocking. I mean, on one hand, it's like, oh, does that mean we're really going to love what's coming? Or is it like, uh-oh? Well, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I guess just having one that we like a little bit more than others isn't too crazy. But yeah, it's very surprising how lukewarm it seems most people are on it. I mean, there's a lot of compliments here too, but not a ton of praise for it like we gave it.
Only Patrick Stewart can make a request for a third-party arbitration. Sounds so badass.
True. Prediction, you both will notice that Goshevin's lines were dubbed by another actor. It was another actor!
Another actor! That's why he was uncredited. Oh my God.
Most people will just watch and enjoy the video.